and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you in this episode that there is one decision that shapes every other decision you make. Every decision you had this week, every decision you will make today, every word you spoke, especially to yourself. Every choice you made about your body, about your career, your money, your relationships. Every single thing that you have created to this day is based on this one decision. It's the reason that you make excuses for why not now instead of doing what you intended, what you swore you would do. It's the reason you did that thing that even while you were saying to yourself, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, you couldn't stop yourself. And it's likely a decision you never even realized you were making. Ladies and gentlemen, it is this decision that is why you are
stuck. A Dulaneyism that describes you if you're frustrated because your results do not match your talents and abilities. You, my friend, are stuck if you know what you want. You know what to do to get what you want. And you have what it takes to get what you want. Yet you have very little of what you want because you are, in fact, stuck. I find it interesting that Mark A. Dulaney is the only trainer I know of that deals with this punishing problem. Won't you join me as Mark creatively portrays the frustration that goes along with being stuck?
Welcome to The Cure for the Common Struggle, where we help you figure out the cure for your specific struggle. This is episode 2 of a 4-part series. It may be 5, it may even be 6, but it's episode 2. If you did not listen to the last one, I suggest you go back and listen to the previous episode because it lays a foundation for this week. If you don't want to go back, that's fine. I'll catch you up a little bit, but that last episode is gold. I introduced the idea in the last episode that your money problems, your relationship problems, your chronic health problems, there's so many things in your life that have plagued you. Most of your adult life are not your problem. They are the symptoms of the real problem that you're going to discover today. In this episode, I'm going to go so deep on the root cause of wrong decisions, the life of direction you're taking, and you didn't even know you were making. I call it the one decision, and I'm here to tell you it absolutely shapes and changes every element of your life. Get this right and everything changes. So, what is that decision, my friend? It sounds so simple. You're going to dismiss it. You're going to say, oh, it can't be that simple. But it is. Here it is. Are you a victim of the past, or are you victorious about your future? And we're going to discuss this the rest of the episode, but ultimately speaking, it comes down to whether or not the past that you've lived, the past before you lived, the past hundreds back, thousands years ago, how that past either makes you a victim today, or you are so focused on being victorious in your future that you use the past to get experience, examples, things not to do, and you apply it to creating a future that you want, or bad things that have happened in the past, no matter what they may be, to you, to your family, to people like you, your race, your gender, are causing you today to see that you're a victim and you can't be successful moving forward. I know it sounds ridiculous. However, I aim to spend the rest of today's episode and literally everything I do with the clients I work with, helping them understand that they are either the victim of the past or they are victorious in creating the future that they want. That's exactly what I want to make the case to you today. So what do I mean? So what is it to be a victim of the past? It means that something you have learned, become aware of, know about, whatever it may be, it happened before today, but today it makes you a victim of it, and it prevents you from being as bold, as strong, as powerful as God intended for you to be. It limits what you believe is possible, what you can do. It limits you in so many ways. Now, let me give you some examples of what this history could be, or what the past could be for you. History. We live in a country that for most of the 19th century, I guess that would be the 20th century, the 18th, you know what I mean. History in this country for people who are black isn't great. We were slaves, we were discriminated against, we were held down. It created racism. That's history. And I will tell you that in every city in this country, there are neighborhoods of people who happen to be black, who are still, I don't want to say, I don't know how to say this, but that history has kept them where they are in those low income neighborhoods, believing that they cannot be successful today. Despite those who do go out and be successful, who are black, they still believe that. Same thing is true in some cases with sexism. There are women, I can't speak to that one personally, but there are women who I'm sure believe there's certain things that they can do and they can't do because they are a woman, based on the history of this country and how we treated women in the past. These histories sometimes create generational poverty, where generation after generation after generation of black, white, male, female, it doesn't matter. There's nothing but poverty and struggle because of the history of that family. There are so many ways that if you allowed it to, history causes you to live as a victim today. There's also things like such as personal setbacks, things that we've experienced. I'm divorced twice. I've had my heart broken a few times. I've been rejected more than the average person gets rejected. I've failed at so many different things. Those things could be, to me, make me a victim and prevent me from trying to create the future that I want. It happens to a lot of people. Fear of repeating pain. Have you ever thought, man, I went through that. I don't ever want to go through that again. And so there are people who refuse to love because they got their heart broken. So they just have meaningless physical and superficial relationships with people. They never fully invest, and then they get their heart broken again and again and again. I need you to understand that when you wake up today, tomorrow, every day, you literally make a decision. You just don't know you're making it. I'm going to be a victim today. There's a million things I could do to make my life better, but I'm not going to do them. And you have every reason, justification, excuse for why that's the best thing for you. The opposite, which is how I try to live every day, is I'm thinking about the future I want, and I'm going to be victorious in creating that future. I may not create it today, but I'm going to focus all my energy and attention on that creation of what I want, instead of trying to protect and hang on to what I have. I'm going to ask every day, what do I want to build today? And after I ask what, I'm going to ask then, how do I build it? And then how do I build it better? I am focused, and I want you to be focused on possibilities, not your limitations. You don't have to wait for permission from anybody. Unless you're a man and you're married to a really good woman, you kind of want to get her buy-in. Ha ha ha. There is no right time. There is no day when you're going to be ready. So you have to see today as the day you become victorious. There is no middle. You are either a person who is going out and seeking the victorious future you want, or you are stuck. And that's why I have the Morgan Freeman opening. You know what you want. You even know what to do to at least get started at getting what you want. But you don't do it because you are stuck, because you are a victim of something that happened maybe yesterday, maybe last year, maybe 100 years ago. So tomorrow morning, when you wake up, I got really good news for you. You get to make the decision as to whether you want to be a victim again or whether you want to be victorious. That's the good news. Tomorrow morning, you can wake up and make the decision, I'm going to be victorious. Here's the bad news. If you don't wake up and actually make the decision, consciously saying, today, I'm going to be victorious, then by default, you're going to be a victim again. You need to write a note right by your bed, on your ceiling, somewhere where you can see it. Today, I choose to be victorious. Because if you don't, you're going to default to victim status. The interesting thing about this, because we're humans, we're complex. There are 5 areas of our lives. There are spiritual life. There is our career, what we do to generate income life. There's what we do with the money we make life. There's our physical health and fitness life. And then there's our relationship life. Here's the funny thing. You can decide to be victorious in one of those areas and absolutely a victim in the other 4. You can decide to be victorious in 2 and then victims in 3. You get the idea, right? Each of those is kind of like its own separate decision. And here's what's interesting. I am a Christian. Proud to say I am a Christian. Christianity is basically based on something that happened over 2,000 years ago. But it promises us a heaven towards the future that we can be victorious in. I can't speak to any other religion because I don't know it very well, and I won't do any religion a disservice by claiming to know it. But most religions are based on something that happened in the past that tells us we're going to have a victory in the future. In relationships, you're going to go through some frogs and toads and bad people, but you can't let them keep you from wanting to find your lifetime partner. When it comes to your career, I promise you, in nowhere else in your life is whether or not you are a victim of being victorious holds true. You're working in a job you hate, but rather than try to make yourself better to go do something better, you suffer through that as a victim. When it comes to your finances, do you invest to be victorious in your future, or do you spend to cope with the pain? Oh my God, the pain. I got to have this weed. I got to have this alcohol. I got to have this porn. I got to have this TV shows. I got to spend my money on all these things because I can't deal with the pain. Or are you using your money to create victory in the future? Are you investing in yourself and in things that will make you financially secure in the future? In relationships, who do you date? The easy, give you whatever you ask for person, or the person that challenges you out of love? These are how, whether or not you are going to create the life you truly want to live versus being I speak English, versus being stuck in the life you hate. And so this is what I need you to understand. It shapes everything in your life. If your life sucks, you got to stop being a victim of the past, your past, bad experiences, and you got to make a decision. Every morning I'm going to wake up, and you pick one of those areas, whether it's your career, whether it's your finances, whether it's relationships. You decide, you know what? I'm creating a victorious future in this area of my life. And so let me explain further how this all works. So in the last episode, I said your life is made up, your life today, as a result of 5 things that have happened to you. Number one is your past, meaning from the time you were born, your parents' influence, your education, like everything that has went into your life, everything you learned, everything you experienced has brought you to today. And as a result of that, in the last episode, I made it clear that you either developed what I call the victim problem, where you're a victim of circumstances, victim of life, victim of whatever. So therefore, this is the best you can do, or you are victorious. And I'm making a case for today in moving forward in your future. And once you make that decision, you create something called mindset. And some mindsets, and I call this the mental challenge. Are we positive in our thoughts? Are we negative? Oh, I can't do that. And I'm going to go through things that people say, but you are either looking forward to the future with expectation and greatness in your future, or you are stuck in misery because you believe this is the best you can do. And as a result, you do things that actually cost you money and keep you from moving forward. Those thoughts lead to choices. You choose to be great or you choose to be small. Those choices lead to actions. You do destructive things, you do neutral things, or you do great things that move your life forward. They lead to words. You learn how to persuade and sell and market to people so they give you and help you create the victories. Or you hang with people and you sit and you commiserate with your words of misery. And you literally try to out-top one another in how miserable your life is. I've never been more depressed myself than sitting around a bunch of people comparing how miserable their day or their life was, as if it's a prize that you want to win. And when you're striving for victory, you ask questions about how can I do this? How can I create this? Who can I get to help me? What can I learn? How do I make this better? And when you're stuck in victim mode, you know what you do? Why does this always happen to me? Why? Do you get what I'm saying, folks? You ask questions as a victim that confirms that you are a victim, that will make you stay a victim. And when you're striving to be victorious, you ask questions that say, how can I take this bad thing and make it a great thing? How can I learn from this bad thing so I never allow it to happen to me again, but I also turn it around and make it a great thing? So if you ask these questions, I would like you to consider the possibility that you may be living the life of someone who's a victim of the past. Maybe you were taught, I don't know. But here's what I know. If you constantly ask, why is this happening to me? Why does nothing ever work out for me? What's the point of trying? And there are other questions, but you get the idea. You are stuck and you have the victim problem. If, however, you're constantly saying, okay, that didn't go well, what can I learn from it? If you're constantly asking the question, how can I make this work? How can I save this? How can I rescue this? What would someone who is very successful do in this situation? Any questions that get you to ponder possibilities, you are living victoriously. Victims ask questions whose answers tell them why they can't do something. Victorious people ask questions that solve problems and create success. I want you to think about how you talk to yourself. Think about the questions you ask. Think about the people you hang out with. Are you living? Are you thinking? Are you acting like a victim? Here's some other examples. They won't let me. Does that sound like a victim or someone who's victorious? What can I take control of and do today? Does that sound like a victim or victor? The system is rigged. People like me can't do that. What would happen if I didn't quit? If I tried a new approach? people like me, we just can't. This is the best we can do. How does those sound to you? So I don't just want to tell you that this is, and I know it's not simple. It's not easy. That's why this is a 5, maybe 6-part series. But ultimately speaking, there is a cost of victimhood. I can tell you that you can count on, and let me just say this, there are times and places in my life where sometimes the victim card wants to show up in my life. And I play small. I've played small sometimes. Sometimes I settle. Sometimes I create my own low ceiling and then feel good because I hit my head on that ceiling. Sometimes I allow fear and limitations to take control of me. And this is why I say you get to make the decision every day, but you also have to make the decision every day. Here's the worst thing, however, about being a victim. You pass your fear and you pass your limitations on to your children, to those you lead, to other people in your life. And here's the deal. If you're a victim and you think life sucks for people like you, whatever that means, and your spouse doesn't feel the same way, it will cause tension in your marriage. And you will be determined to do everything in your power to convince your spouse to be a victim too. And you have coworkers who are doing great, you will convince them that they should be victims. So this is why I say your struggles financially, your career, in relationships, many of them with your health, they are symptoms of your being a victim and what I call the victim problem. I believe that society as a whole wants you to stay stuck, live as a victim, and let them take care of you. Let them solve the problems. Let them be the solution instead of you being victorious about your future, using your assets to create more assets and the life you truly want to live. Every commercial that comes on TV wants you to believe that the solution to your problem is to give them money and buy what they're offering. That's the whole purpose of advertising, to get you to give your money to them to solve problems that you have, that you could probably solve on your own if you wanted to. Politicians. So here's the deal. This is going to be a statement that you are going to love or you are going to really freaking hate. Politicians are probably, and I say this not personally towards any one person, but nobody benefits more from your being a victim than the politicians that represent you. Earlier, I made a statement that in every city in this country, there are poor neighborhoods. Usually they're Black and African American. They're full of people who believe that they are victims of slavery, racism, thisism, thatism. And they are represented by politicians who play that up and promise them they're going to go to City Hall, the State House, the Congress, the House of Representatives, whatever. And they're going to fight to solve those problems. And that's been going on now for 50 or 60 years, probably more. And the only people who benefit are those politicians who get elected. Those politicians in the poor neighborhoods of the cities that they represent, they are often the richest people in those neighborhoods. And they never teach the people in those neighborhoods to do what they did to create success. They teach them to sit and wait for them to go off and create opportunity for them. This is something that frustrates me. It has frustrated me for decades. It's frustrated me as soon as I figured it out, because I once ran for mayor of Rochester, New York myself, and I realized that here's the deal. I'm not saying anybody's a bad person. I'm saying people benefit from your being a victim. A long, long time ago, speaking of politics, Lyndon Johnson declared war on poverty. And a long time ago, I think it was 1964. This is 2025. Do you think that we won the war on poverty? Poverty is big business in this country. Poverty pays for a lot of people's paychecks who are being paid to solve poverty theoretically, but in reality, they merely treat the symptoms of poverty. So as a result, we have an entire not-for-profit industry designed to help people who are victims in some way, shape, or form. Most of them do not address the root cause. They just treat the symptoms, and you can treat the symptoms guarantees you a job for life. Because when you treat the symptoms and you don't address the real problem, you have those symptoms forever. How about pharmaceutical companies? Every freaking commercial break on a TV show, you see multiple commercials for some pharmaceuticals. And they are not running them because you need them today. They're running them to make you immune to those side effect symptoms that get read. So when your doctor says you should take this, it may kill you, but it will also help you. You are immune to it because you've heard it so many times. Overall, my friends, and I'm on a rant here, and maybe I lost you and no one will ever hear this, but here's the deal. Your being a victim makes so many people wealthy, you wouldn't believe it. Pharmaceutical companies, not-for-profits, politicians, advertisers, overall, the media. When you feel like a victim, you can watch 6, 7, 8 hours of TV a day. You can come home from work and do nothing but veg out on the couch and watch TV. Have you thought about all the different media services available to you between social media, between podcasters, television, movies, paid subscriptions to television? You get the idea. You have something that everybody wants. You have time. Everybody wants your time. You have attention. Your attention is worth money to somebody. Everybody has money. No matter how little, everybody wants your money. Everybody wants your time, your attention, your money, your scrolling, whatever it is. When you are a victim, you spend an inordinate amount of time doing things that make everybody else wealthy, that you do those things with. When you are setting out to be victorious, you create stuff so that people can give you what you want out of life. Whether it's love, whether it's money, whether it's free time, whether it's success, whether it's a family. When you are a victim, instead of pursuing those things with all your heart, you pursue things that help you cope with being a victim. And in doing so, you help other people become victorious in their future. So if you thought of your hours, your dollars, your attention, your energy as an asset to you, and you used it to be victorious in your future, then I've done my job today, my friends. But if you're content and happy to spend your money, let's talk about one other thing. In New York State, as in many other states, they legalize cannabis. And the closer to a poor neighborhood I go, the more places I see to buy cannabis. Why? It's a tremendous boon of income to the state because they charge a lot of taxes on that stuff. They charge those people to get licenses. State makes a ton of money. And more people now are addicted in some way, shape, or form to some form of cannabis or drugs. Only thing now, you're not buying it from some guy in an alley. You're buying it from an established store. Still has the effect on people. Anyway, I need you to get this and understand. There will always be people who are victims because society benefits from victims. And the people in society who seek money and power want you to be a victim and to give all of your time, all of your attention, all of your money, all of your energy to them so they can go out and create the lives, the victorious lives that they want. When you are a victim, you're easier to sell to, you're easier to distract, you're easier to control than when you believe you have the power to create what you want. And so I'm going to go back and I'm going to talk about the government real quick, because there's 3 ways that a government can create dependency in its people. Do you get what I'm saying? There are 3 ways. Number 1, through the barrel of a gun. And there are a lot of places in the world today that the barrel of a gun is the law. What the government says, you do. You have no choice. You have no say. So you just do it. Through poor health is a second way. A sick population is dependent on the government for health care and prescription drugs and services and stuff like that. So when you allow your health to fall apart, your body to fall apart, you don't care whether it's a Republican or Democrat or positive or negative. When you're in poor health, you just want them to give you health care. And whatever strings come along with it, you basically suffer through it. But the third way is what I mostly talk about today. It is when you volunteer through your being a victim, you're being in debt, you're being underemployed, your willingness to not only accept but embrace government handouts. When you waste your money, when you're distracted, when you have no plan for your own success, and when you believe that the solution, because you're a victim, is outside of you, you fall into perfect harmony with what your government, your city, your state, and the federal government, I believe, wants you to be dependent. And this is not a political show, but I know that your dependency, your compliance, your need of government services is the dream come true of every mayor, governor, and most of the presidents we've ever had. So again, here's some examples. The war on poverty. Are they winning the war, or are more people becoming poverty? There's a theory in the mind and psychology and in many other ways. Whatever you focus on, you get more of. Have you heard that before? If you focus on something, you see more of it. Like, for example, when you buy a car, all of a sudden, every freaking body driving down the road is driving that same car. You didn't see it before, but now that you have one, you're aware of them like crazy. The war on poverty, calling attention, constantly news battles. This group is struggling. These people are having a hard time. These people can't pay their bills. Every cut to the government means these 1,000 people are that is making you aware of poverty, and it's not helping you get out of it. It's probably making you more aware and doing things to end up in poverty. Legalize gambling and cannabis. You know, for a long, long time, these things were really, really bad. But once they realized they can tax them and get money for them, and you being distracted, you gambling away your money, because most people lose at gambling. And cannabis is just money down the drain. You're numbing yourself. The whole thing is designed to make you feel closer to being a victim. Over prescription of antidepressants and GLP-1 meds. You have the power. Now, I know that there are people who are so depressed that they definitely need help. But when it comes to so many things, we are so quick. We are quicker than ever to rely on a drug to solve our problems, right? I mean, just think about it. 20 years ago, we didn't have all the antidepressants. We didn't have GLP-1s. And yet, somehow or another, everyone survived. Here's another one that I find interesting. Valentine's Day, anniversaries, all these things are created so that you spend money to celebrate them. And if you don't, then you're cheap, or you're this or you're that. But ultimately, you're taking your resources and giving it to the people who created holidays, and you're taking your resources, you're making them wealthy. I get it, guys. You got to give your girl a Valentine's Day gift. You got to give your wife. You got to do those things. But all these holidays are created for the purpose of getting you to spend your money to make them wealthy, as opposed to investing it to make you wealthy. So here's the simple thing. And, you know, this is a topic you can tell that I'm really, really passionate about. Victims will follow whoever promises them the most. More. Victims follow whoever promises them more. And you know what that means? That's guaranteeing you stay a victim. Victims seek the easiest path to comfort. Victims believe in their own self-created limitations. Victims believe they are entitled to the resources of others, which is what creates civil wars and so many other things. Victims are waiting for others to create their opportunity. I think you deserve better. I think you can do better. I think at every level, every one of us has a little bit of victim in us. And the more we get that victim out, the better, the happier we are. Because the ripple effect of being someone who's being victorious in their lives, victors lead others to become victors. Victors model resilience for others to see. Victors show us what is possible. Victors empower us to win because whenever someone creates success, they pull other people with them. Victors create opportunities for other people. And the bottom line, and here's the best summary statement I can give you, victims need help. Victors give help. That is the thing that I've been able to do with the people that I serve in my private coaching practice to help people go from feeling like they're victims of their genetics. For example, some people think they're overweight solely because of their genetics, and I help them overcome it through being more effective at their bodies. Some people think that they have a relationship problem, but they really have a victim problem because somebody broke their heart. I've had multiple female clients who experienced this. A man broke their heart. I won't tell the whole story. A man broke their heart, so their answer was to gain 50, 75, 100 pounds, so they'd be unattractive to men. And once they realized why they gained that weight, they lost weight and they became open to a loving relationship. This is why when I work with someone one-on-one, I tell everyone, you should start with a health journey to improve your body. And because it's the one place you have total control. You cannot demand a raise or get a high income, raise your income tremendously. Can't guarantee someone's going to love you. Can't guarantee anything, but you can guarantee how you treat your body. And once your body starts to improve and you build health habits, you build confidence, you build discipline, and you build proof that you can change. Then that becomes transferable to your income, to your relationships, to your business or career, to your marketing, to your parenting, and mostly to your personal finances. So I would like to share with you just a private story to understand how this whole victim versus being victorious thing works. So I want to tell you two stories. I met a woman on October 1st of 2023, and I thought she was beautiful, and I literally fell in love with her when I first met her. And I decided I was going to be victorious with her, and I treated her like a queen. I mean, I literally, everything I could do to make that woman love me, I did. And you know what? She loved me. And once she started loving me, something interesting happened. I started thinking and acting like a victim. Like, why is that woman so great, so beautiful, so hot, so everything attracted to a guy like me? Now, at the time, which is my second story, I'm going to tell you about my cancer journey because it makes the case. And instead of trying to love her and attract her, you know what I started doing? I started wondering why she's with me. And I started being really sensitive, like a victim, to everything she didn't say or didn't do that I wish she had done. And she was no different. She didn't change. This was all in my head from being victorious and seeing us as a future together, the rest of our lives together, loving each other. And we're too old to have children, but you get the idea. I became this guy that just wanted to hang on to her. Why isn't she still love me the way she used to? Why didn't she do this and say this? And I became our relationship's own worst enemy. And then as I developed this concept and as I realized what I was doing, I realized what a jackass I was being. Like, she didn't change. It was all in me. My expectations of how I wanted her to respond to anything I did was what changed. And so I went back to loving her. And I go back to being willing to stand up for what I believe she should be doing in certain areas. Nothing like relationships are complicated. That's all I'll say. Sometimes she does things wrong. She's not perfect. And I call her out on it and things get better. When she makes demands of me that are, I think are unreasonable, I call her out on it. And we have arguments like regular couples do. But they're couples where it's from love and expectation of building a relationship that I want to have with a woman. So in relationships where you are a victim, you will chase away someone who loves you. But where you're trying to be victorious, you will attract someone who loves you. Think about that. The second example I'm going to give you is my cancer journey. Just during 2023, I was going through cancer treatment because I had a high PSA test. And then I met this woman October 1st. Along the way, my father passed away. And then after meeting her, 6 weeks later, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And I'll never forget the sound of her voice when I told her. She was obviously hurt and worried for me. And, that was a loving moment for me. And I'll never forget that. But going through cancer treatment, when I first learned I had cancer and I knew I was going to have radiation therapy and testosterone therapy, I was committed to being victorious. And I was already otherwise healthy, but I kept exercising throughout my cancer treatment. And I never let myself get down or feel sorry for myself because I know chemotherapy is 10 times worse than radiation. And I know that I'm not having my prostate removed from my body and I'm going to be sexually dysfunctional and incontinent for my life. So I was victorious in my future. I wasn't a victim of cancer until something happened to me in August of that year. Cancer treatment was over. I was starting to feel better. All of a sudden, I lost all my energy. I lost all my drive. I can't explain it. I just became this puddle of a man that I used to be. And I allowed myself to be a victim of cancer treatment. And I was just this pathetic mass. I lost all my clients. I lost all my fight. Now, some of it was cancer treatment, but I really gave into it. And it wasn't until March, in January, we all think we're going to be great, but it wasn't until March of 2025 that I say, F this. And I didn't say F. I said the word. I claim my body and my mind back. And from March to today is July 1st. I have made tremendous changes to my business, to myself, to how I go about my day. And so I want you to just take a moment and I want you to look at your life. Where you are struggling, where you are suffering, where life is miserable, where you need to be inebriated with drugs or alcohol or sex or television or whatever it is, whatever those problems are, they are not your problem. Your problem is, I pray you get this, somewhere along the line, you became a victim of the past, of your past, of a broken heart, of major setbacks, of your education, of something. And your problems will never, ever end until you make the decision when you wake up every morning to be victorious in that area of your life. And I'm going to tell you, there's no government program that's going to take you from victim to victorious. There's no miraculous job. There's no person. There's nothing other than you that can take you from being a victim of your past to being victorious in your future. Test me on this. Wake up tomorrow and commit to being victorious about your future in that area of your life and in every area of your life, and watch how your thoughts change, how your choices change, how your actions change, and then do it again every morning. Now, In the next episode of this, The Cure for the Common Struggle podcast, we're going to talk about something called a mental problem. And a mental problem is the manifestation of the victim problem, because all your thoughts are, why not now? Why I can't? People like us, all the stuff we talked about. Even though you make the decision to be victorious in your future, you still have to solve those little nagging things that show up in your life every day in terms of thoughts. You have doubts, you have hesitations, you make excuses. That's what we're going to cover. How do you overcome that next week to further your commitment to being victorious in the future? And then in 2 weeks, we cover something called the method problem. And the method problem means that you're doing the wrong things to create the results you want. Either the quality or the quantity, or you're just plain doing the wrong things. We'll help you figure those things out too. So today's episode is all about you making the decision to be victorious in your future, as opposed to a victim of your past. And I said a lot. I probably went longer than I should have, but I think you get the point. I want to help you be victorious. And I want your being victorious to manifest itself in bolder, more powerful thoughts, bolder, more powerful actions, and results that you can measure. And I have this 2 themes that you will see on my social media and everywhere. A better body creates a better life. And number 2, results over promises. I charge for results, not the promises, not my experience, not my excitement, not my information. And when you put those 2 together, here's what it means. I'd like to have a conversation with you about the life you want to create. And then I will go off and I will create a plan. I charge for the plan. That plan is your commitment to me. It's almost always under $100. And then I work with you one-on-one or in a group or some way that fits your style to help you create those results. The mental results, the behavioral results, the tangible, measurable results. You want to lose weight? You want to make more money? You want to be more proactive in your life? Whatever it is you want, I charge you primarily as you get your results, not as I make bigger and bolder promises. If you think that'd be interesting to you, visit my Calendly page and schedule a 18-minute talk. And let's talk about what results you want. I'll explain what it looks like. And at the end of it, I won't try to sell you anything. If you're interested in learning more, then we schedule a longer appointment and I'll create a plan for you and I will help you create the results that you want. Or I don't make a lot of money. I don't make any money at all, really. The plan that I put together for you is going to be detailed, specific, and it's based on where you are today to where you want to be in the future. So I'm not going to have you trying to run if you've never run in your life. We start with walking. I'm not going to have you go out and try and make a podcast in your first week. I'm going to teach you how to communicate so you attract attention. I think you get the idea. Bottom line is, the problem that I want to help you solve is I want to make sure that in every area of your life, you are choosing to be victorious in your future, as opposed to being a victim of your past. And when that happens, you think differently, you act differently, and you get better results. My name is Mark Dulaney. This was episode number 6 of The Cure for the Common Struggle podcast. And here's my promise to you. Through this episode, I have helped you more than any politician has ever helped you. And that's why I approve this message. If I can be of help, I'd love to be. And most importantly, and what I really want you to understand is, your being victorious is the worst thing that can happen to others, but it's the best thing that will ever happen to you.
All I can say is wow. I told you Mark was unique in his approach. You will never get what you want as long as you are stuck. Is this your time to get unstuck?